Welcome, DeFi Degens and airdrop astronauts. we have a great episode for you. We're going to be talking about a kind of a cool new project called GIZA. It is a DeFi and an AI play. So it's going to kind of touch on two really hot topics that are narratives that are brewing during this dare we call it bull cycle. Oh, it looks like I freaking lost my co-host. Well, hopefully he comes back. Gonna ask how he's doing. But so I appreciate y'all for joining us.
And about
There he is. There he is. Appreciate
yeah.
y'all for for joining us. But I'm gonna go ahead and kick it over to Jeff and see how he's doing this evening. How you doing, brother?
What's up? I'm doing great. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of stuck on the intro on my screen, so I was like, let me just refresh this real
Oh,
quick.
cool, cool. Yeah, no worries, no worries.
No, nice holiday weekend. Hope everyone else out there was safe. It's sad what happened in Texas, so I hope everyone was able to enjoy time with the ones they love. And yeah, that's just heart goes out to all the people affected in that area. That's crazy. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
other than that, it was a great holiday weekend. Got a lot done.
Yeah, no, I've headed down to Northern California. We did a little bit of hiking and visited some friends and family and things like that. So yeah, quite the drive. It was about a 13-hour drive, but well worth it. Well worth it. So well,
Spent
let's go
time in
ahead.
nature.
Yo, yeah, no, we hiked up to the top of a mountain. I mean, there was still like snowpacks and stuff like that up there. So yeah, we were up there a little ways.
Nice.
Hey,
That's
what's
my
up,
girl.
Jay? So, yeah, Jay, Deadwood, Alexandra G, Black Ice, all the crew. Appreciate you for coming. Rico, I don't think I've seen
Rico.
that name. Hey, how's
No,
it going, brother?
maybe once. Yeah. Welcome, welcome.
So, yeah, no, there's this should be a really good episode. Like I said, usually on these shows we dive into low cap projects. This one is a very low cap project, and we'll get into some details here in a minute. But do you want to take us through the socials real quick, just so everybody knows where to find us and how to
Yeah,
contact us?
yeah. Let me share my screen. Get this up there for y'all. We appreciate everyone for joining us today. Hope you had a wonderful holiday weekend. We're out Saturday enjoying time away. And yeah, here at DeFi Crypto and Airdrops, me and Mike go live together Monday and Saturday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And Mike also goes live randomly throughout the week. Excuse me. And on Thursdays, he goes live with a special group, a TradFi expert and a lawyer. And they go live 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And also, our brother channels, don't forget to check them out. They cover the news, trading, degen stuff. So Discover Crypto, Blockchain Basement, BitLab, and DCA Consortium, and me, the Blockchain Report. And our Twitter accounts, DeFi Crypto and Airdrops, the underscore only underscore DCA. And you can follow Vet at Veteran4Crypto and me at the BCR142. And we also have our our Discord account. So our DeFi Crypto and Airdrops Discord got all the resources you need for DeFi and airdrop stuff, especially Vet's tracking sheets that he's worked hard on
Yeah.
sharing with us. And it's very helpful. So, if anyone's looking for that, jump in the Discord and the Discover Investment Group Discord. They have some free sections, so you can get in there to get started. And if you want to go a little bit further in your investing journey, they have a paid section where you can get access to everybody in Discover Investment Group and their portfolios, the trading channels, a lot of alpha. Uh, Joshua Jake
Daily.
is doing a 1K to 10K challenge. So they're
Mhm.
in there sharing information on stop losses and targets that they're looking at. So it's a lot of good beneficial information If you're
He's actually doing a $1,000 to a new
oh
Porsche.
the Porsche, that's right,
He's trying to get
that's
a
right.
but yeah,
Previous
they
one
have
was the 10K.
yeah,
I
they have a lot of free content in there, and every morning, usually Drew, and or Josh Kelly, they're all in there, giving great entries on trading. If you're into trading, they of course teach technical analysis, but sometimes they just they'll show live what they're doing. So I mean, you can
hmm
copy trade, you can do all that stuff. So it is it's a really great value. Again, a bunch of it's free, some of it's behind a paywall, but you can get in there and dip your toes in for free and see the value before you buy anything. So tomorrow, I'm going to be going live. I'm going to do episode 11, and I'm going to share a really simple
I hate
DeFi play to double, to multiply your Bitcoin. Double, triple, 5x, 10x your Bitcoin with minimal
hmm
risk. With minimal risk. So I'll be sharing that tomorrow. I'm going to start dipping into kind of some medium skill DeFi strategies as far as flywheels and things like that. I kind of feel like I've covered quite a bit of basics, and we'll circle back. But I definitely want to make sure that we start whetting people's appetite for some of the more advanced strategies to lever up and really
hmm
put their portfolio on steroids. So
That's
all
awesome.
right. Yep. I appreciate you bringing it up. That's actually it right there.
Yeah, yeah, and with all these Bitcoin centric projects that are coming up, with these Bitcoin testnet projects and shit, I'm really excited to see what capabilities we'll have with DeFi in that
Mhm.
space. I mean, Bitcoin native, full custody. You're not relying on some centralized exchange to custody your DeFi Bitcoin because for whatever reason. So this is awesome. Awesome that we're getting more into this.
Absolutely. So let's see. Do you want to take it? I mean, I got some stuff pulled up. I pulled up crypto rank, and so I have a bunch of like just general information. I pulled up the token unlocks, and some of that stuff. The funding, who's funded it so far. But do you want me to start with that, and then we can just kind of
Yeah.
go on? All right, cool. All right. Well, let me. Oh, okay, you got me already
Yeah, I
nutted
got you.
over. I appreciate it. So on DeFi Llama, right now, pretty much we're just trending sideways. When it comes to TVL and DEX volume, you can see not a whole lot of volatility, which can be both good and bad. Everything's trending sideways right now, so it earns well, but there's not a whole lot of volume, so not a whole lot of fees being generated. It's been oddly quiet today for a Monday, which has been really,
Mm.
really weird. So, um, take that as you will. I mean, have you noticed that at all?
It did feel like a kind of a weird trading day or just a day in the markets in general. I think because the holiday weekend, you might have some of that hangover.
Mm,
So that could be it. Everyone getting back into the swing of things, but or other political news that was just kind of taking attention away.
Yeah, everyone's scared to get into the freaking markets. So this is the charts. Since it launched. And what I'm looking at the daily here, and you can see. I mean, it's pretty damn flat. Not a whole lot going on with it. The market cap, it is a super low market cap. Right now it's sitting at about a $17 million market cap. Fully diluted is 179 million. Still, very, very low. We got, let's see what else we got here. I'll get into the team here in a second. As far as the amount of money raised, it looks like that they have, where are we at here? They have Coin Fund has invested. The Base Ecosystem Fund has invested. Arrington Capital, MH Ventures, Contango Digital, ID Theory, So they did a $2.2 million round. They did a $1.5 million round, and then they did a pre-seed of 3 million. So a total of about 5.2 million across the three. And somewhat recently, it looks like their pre-seed was back in July of 23. Their ICO was January through March of 25, and then May, more recently was the last one of 2.2 million. So let's go over to here, and you can see this is the unlock. So it looks like May of 2028, the early backers and investors unlock. So here is the pie chart that kind of shows the breakdown. We got about 31.4% for early backers and investors. The treasury and future distribution is about 22%. Community distribution, so like airdrops, that which is what Jeff is going to get into here in a minute, is about 20%. Team and advisors, 18.3%. Initial partnerships, 3.8%. And ecosystem partnerships, a little over 2%. But you can see that the unlocks aren't for a while. Looks like May 2028 is the majority of the unlocks. So the only
Damn.
thing that's been unlocked right now is the initial community of looks like 22 million GIZA, and the initial partnerships are the only thing that's currently unlocked. So there's still a decent amount of time before we have to start dealing with token potential token dumps. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think about that?
Yeah, and let me see. Sorry, I have it on the other screen. So, oh yeah, early backers, treasury. Yeah, if you're gonna have lockups and outside of a fair launch where everybody gets the equal share, no investors or advisors. But if you're gonna have that, at least have the lockups further out. Now I know
Hmm.
that there's certain ways you can stagger it to make it less likely for sell pressure. Because I know that's the issue with Celestia, the TIA token, is
That's what
there
scared me away with Tia was the
it's
tokenomics.
because of the investors.
Hmm.
There's so many that have the ability to put that sell pressure on. It completely fucks the underlying fundamentals of the project itself. If you had people trying to do that with Microsoft or Samsung or something, we're just gonna push this fucking price down to nothing, even though you got a good product. It scares people away, like
Yeah,
yourself. It's like, okay, what are we doing here? You guys just, I don't know. But if you can mitigate that by having these unlocks in a strategic way that doesn't fuck the initial investors and has long term potential, because everyone's trying to make a quick buck, but what's that gonna do for the long term of these projects? So
and it looks like they put some thought. At least they put some thought into the timeline. For these things to unlock, to give the project some time to get some traction and build some TVL and some things like that. Because I kind of feel like a lot of projects out there they and I'm sure a lot of it has to do with negotiating with the the initial investors and things like that. But it's I would think that if it's a good project that has staying power, that investors would at least have the majority of their tokens vest a little deeper into the project development, and not as soon as it launches, because that's what seems to
mhm.
happen, or historically has happened quite a bit.
Yeah.
So this is the CEO. We'll go through just kind of the top three of the C-suite real quick. I apologize if I don't pronounce the name right, but Rink. It looks like he's from Madrid, Spain, and some of his past experience. He's been at Giza for 2 years, 8 months. He's the CEO. and was the COO, Chief Operations Officer. Before that, he was at Curve Labs, Web3 product manager. He was the founder of another, looks like an analysis platform, and then it was at Johnson and Johnson for 3 years, 6 months as the senior digital product manager, and then a content manager, quality assurance localization tester at EA Sports.
Damn.
Bachelor's of Business and Administration and Management. And the reason I'm going through this, just so people understand, kind of, this might seem, kind of odd or weird that we're kind of picking through these people, but this is part of the fundamentals of a project. And this is how I personally, and I'm sure Jeff, feel free to chime in, but this is how I assess it's the difference between like a meme coin and an actual solid project that is addressing a pain point, in the industry, and the potential that it's going to have staying power. Because if you don't have a
Hmm.
fully doxed team that have a good background of leading, successful projects, the chances that that project are going to succeed diminish. And so if you have a
Hmm.
good solid docs team that has a good track record of successful projects, that they have a good background in the areas that they're aiming to address. So in this case, blockchain technology, AI potentially, so their CTO, I haven't even looked at him yet. So, we're all going to learn about that together. But I would love to see a background in AI. I would love to see a background in some sort of finance, or, because this is a DeFi, AI project. I would like to see somebody that has sunk their teeth, into those industries and that have a background in that. So that's kind of why we're diving into this. We're going to kind of make this part of our deep dives on these projects. So let's jump over. Let's check out this guy next. I'm just going to skim through these real quick. I don't want to take too much time on them. So, co founder and CTO. Let's see what this guy's up to. So, Francisco, it looks like he's in Madrid as well. Co founder and CTO. Looks like he's been at GIZA for 3 years, 3 months. Uh, Guild lead at Polygon Technology. All right. So it looks like he has some experience with in a core team at W3B Lab Community, freelance, building the Web3 community in Madrid, ML Ops tech lead at Adidas. Let's see, bringing the best MLO ops practices. Do you mind Googling what the hell is MLO ops or ML ops?
ML Ops. Let's check this out.
While you're looking that up, BP,
MLOps.
yeah, MLO.
Machine Learning Operations.
Okay, okay. So that's definitely blockchain
Yeah, practice of
technology.
integrating machine learning model development, deployment, and maintenance into a cohesive, automated, and scalable process.
There it is, AI. All right, perfect.
Yep.
BBVA Next Technologies. Again, ML Ops Tech Lead, Senior ML Engineer, and a data scientist. Implementation. Thank you. And deployment of recommendation systems. All right. Reinforcement learning for product customization and dynamic user interface on AWS. All right. All right. Stanford University deep learning specialization, and Audacity natural language processing nano degree. This guy has some interesting backgrounds, licenses and certifications, AWS certified machine learning specialty, professional machine learning engineer at Google Cloud. I like this.
Damn, they got
So,
some hitters, man.
yeah,
Some
I mean,
experience.
deeply steeped in this, as far as being subject matter experts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is the last one we're going to touch on. Co-founder at Giza Tech, Looks like been there for 2 years, 10 months. A founder at Curve Labs, building a research and implementation lab for distributed cybernetics. A mentor at CV Labs, a blockchain incubator. I teach founders about perspectives on distributed governance, mechanism design, and crypto economics, as well as a strategic thinking in anti rivalrous ecosystems. Strategy lead at Argon Black. Helped build and design one of the first state of the art automated primary market maker contracts. Okay. So an AMM. So he is familiar,
Mm.
at least has some, dipped his toe in to some DeFi. Strategy lead at Pando Network. Strategy, tokenomics, and governance design for a Web3 based version control system. All right. Not a deep. I would have liked to have seen a somebody on the team with a bit more experience in in DeFi or traditional finance. What are your
Mm.
thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, who do they have that's building that out? Uh, Like, do they have anyone on their team that shows or listed as like a financial? Because really,
Let me go to their website.
it has me thinking about these other projects too, building out these DeFi applications. How many of them actually have financial experts on their team? I haven't thought about that before. Um,
Okay, so
that's
this right on their website here, core team, our engineering and research team brings together top talent from leading Web3 and financial institutions. This includes senior engineers from Ledger, Bancor, and Aragon, as well as lead data scientists and machine learning engineers from BBVA and Allianz. This combination of traditional finance and Web3 expertise positions us
mm,
uniquely to develop and deploy secure, sophisticated financial agent infrastructure at scale. So they don't list anybody specifically, but they do say
uh,
that they have people on their team. I would like to have, whoever their senior, financial
mm,
expert, doxed, to be honest.
yeah. And I looked up that Allianz. Have you? I've never heard of them before. So Allianz is a global insurance and financial services company that has been increasingly integrating machine learning and MLOps practices um, into its operations. So that's interesting. So they're a global insurance and financial services company that is using AI and MLOps. And so they
All
have a
right.
team and BBVA that they've
Well,
been
and
around
that
a while.
Well,
But
and
yeah.
that's what it said. The one guy was from. So okay, so that
Mm.
there is all right. So I stand corrected. There's a decent amount of financial background for them to lean on. So
Hey, that's important to know. That's
well,
important to
no,
ask.
well, and like I said, this is all part of the fundamentals. A fully
Hmm.
docs team that have subject matter experts in what the the market that they are trying to address the pain points for. And if you're trying to build a DeFi platform, an AI, integrated, DeFi protocol, then this is what you want to see. You want to see
Hmm.
people that understand at a deep level, the industry and and potentially those pain points that they've dealt with personally and that they've talked with other people about as far as what can we do to make this better, because if you any type of business, any successful business, they address a pain point. If it's Amazon and the pain point of access to quality products, no matter where you're at in the world, they address that. SpaceX, the pain point of getting satellites and equipment into
Hmm.
orbit. they addressed that. NASA wasn't flipping the bill. When it comes to logistics, the moving of the moving of packages and things like that. The postal service, that was a pain point for a lot of businesses. So that's why FedEx and UPS came to be. Is they figured out a way to do it better, faster, cheaper. That is what a successful business does. So anyway, again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to dwell on that too much, but I did want to touch on that. So the last thing I think before I turn it over to you, um, is I want to touch on this. So there is earning opportunities. If you end up liking this again, we are not financial advisors. This is not financial advice. I have not bought any of these tokens. I am not doing any DeFi yet on any of this. Weren't paid to do this. We're not getting tokens to do a deep dive on this. This is 100% unbiased. We're looking at this first look. I didn't even do any research on this. I wanted this to be a first look, all of us together. I wanted you to see how I personally do my research on these projects before we go live, so that you can do this yourself. If you see a project that looks interesting to you, you know where to look and how to look. So,
Mm-hmm.
all of this that we've been doing is simply on CryptoRank. So, CryptoRank, just like DeFi Llama, is a great tool and resource to look into these projects to find out, who the C-suite people are, arbitrage, vesting, the token vesting, fundraising, historical data, news, all of those things you can find on CryptoRank. So, but yeah, this is what we're looking at right now. As far as looks like you can find it on Aerodrome. It looks like it's on V4 and V3 Uniswap. Not a ton of TVL. It looks like Aerodrome, for the most part, is the best place for TVL. However, if you look, Uniswap only has just shy of 200K of TVL, but is doing more fees and a higher APR.
Hmm.
So
More volume on there.
possibly
Yeah.
do with that as you will. So
Huh.
there is DeFi opportunities. That's just something I wanted to throw out there. Um, oh, they have a GIZA KTA pool.
Interesting.
I did not see that. There's only 104. But the cool thing is Uniswap, because it's a Giza KTA pool, it is a crypto pair. I'm not saying I'm going to run off and do this, but you earn both Giza and KTA at the same time. Actually, let's do this
Hmm.
live. Let's go to
Hmm.
let's go down to here. So DeFi Llama, come down to correlation. Let's go to the correlation matrix. Again,
Oh
gonna
yeah.
do
Let's see if they behave well.
exactly. So let's see what we got going on here. So we got KTA and then Giza. Let's see if it will pull Giza up.
The
There it
old
is.
Giza.
All right. So we got Giza and KTA. It looks like on the 1 year, 0.72. So that's a
Oh,
good correlation. The 1 month, 1.81. Excellent
damn.
correlation. On the 7 day, not so much, 0.42. So, potentially long term, that might be a good pool if the TVL comes up. And but
Mm.
you got to ask yourself though, how many people are going to be swapping between KTA and Giza?
Yeah. Yeah. Where's the volume at?
Yeah,
I mean, it could come in for a day or two, or like you said, a week, but
I wonder why
long
there's.
term.
I just wonder
Uh,
why there's a
I mean, Giza
Giza.
just launched. Oh, what? There's a pair.
Yeah, like
That's
and
odd.
and, and $104,000 worth of TVL. I wonder.
Um. So okay, so that might be a great way to segue into this because
Yeah,
this
you know
is
what?
an AI
You take
enabled.
you
Thinking
take it
about
from
it
here.
like this, so this is an AI enabled like automatic. Oh shit! Let me. I
Hey,
just clicked myself
crypto
off.
G. We're talking about GIZA. It's a
Yeah.
DeFi AI protocol, and we're just basically going through. I mean, we're giving you a behind the scenes look. This is how we look at projects. Like if we're doing our deep dive or our research before a show, this is the places we're going. This is the data points and the fundamentals that we're looking at to let you guys know, if we feel it's a solid project or not, and or if I'm going to invest in a project, if I'm going to buy an early project, this is what I do to see if it has solid enough fundamentals for me to put my liquidity in it.
Yeah. This is really interesting. So basically, Giza's the infrastructure powering autonomous financial markets, right? By enabling non-custodial AI agents. So thinking about, Kita is a RWA, right?
What's that?
Play.
What's that? Yeah, yeah. Kita's a DeFi
Kita.
RWA.
So if you have these kind of institutional or like a Plume, why why wouldn't they take advantage of automatic agents like this? They just put, let's say you put 100,000 in this automated agent to use
Dude,
for your DeFi, and
dude,
why not create a pair for yourself?
I just thought of something. So, AI, it's, I mean, you need a ton of compute power and
Hmm.
bandwidth for,
Mm,
for AI. So you have Giza, that is a DeFi AI play, and you have Kita that is boasting, and and we did that live stream where they showed that they had, I think it was 16 million transactions per second,
yeah.
and so that ties in, and Keto was, part of it was, talking about use with AI for large databases and things like that, which
Hmm.
an AI would be one of those. These two working together might be on something on the horizon.
Oh yeah. No, I thought Kita had some kind of update recently about that million, but I think it was 16 million.
Yeah, yeah, it was a 16 million TPS is what it spiked up to. They publicly were saying 11 or 12, but again, I streamed it live, and you can go back on our channel and watch it if you want. And at one point, it spiked up to 16 million, and
Good
it's
lord.
scalable, so it can go faster. I mean, if you believe
Yeah.
what they're saying, mainnet has not gone live yet, but if you want to take it and go ahead and start talking about the airdrop, or or whatever you want to
Yeah.
talk about, I'll actually go on Grok right now and do a little bit of research and see if I can find anything where
Damn.
Maybe Kita and Giza are working together.
Oh, that's yeah. Damn. See, we're finding out all kinds of good alpha. Um,
Exactly, exactly.
so the airdrop, they had season one, and I didn't know that I had qualified for this airdrop because I didn't really use Giza like that. And early adopters, the only reason why I qualified, so I had 180 Giza tokens, which is like almost $40, I think. Um, yeah, price is 17 cents. So I participated in social campaigns, right? Layer 3 is one project I've been using for 2.5 years now. And they have these quests and campaigns where you complete these tasks, learn about the project, and sometimes they'll have an on chain task for you to complete. And then, you know, like here, activate or top up your agent. This is for season two. But season one, I was eligible, and I don't think I really spent any money on it. If I did, it was less than $5. So,
Hmm.
that was pretty cool. But now they have their season two, and let's see where. Oh, I think they had it right back here. So season two, they're looking for community growth. So compensating loyal community support, users who use the AMRA agent, which I'll show you how to configure and deploy, which it does require 10 USDC on the base network. So if you don't want to do that, that's perfectly fine. But you don't have to do the layer 3 stuff. This is just extra. But it doesn't hurt, to jump in there. And like I said, I've gotten plenty of airdrops from layer 3, not directly, but just by utilizing other projects or getting exposed to other projects. But yeah, airdrop season 2. So they have go back to the GIZA tech website and deploy an agent, and it'll take you to this Arma agent.
Okay.
And let me disconnect real quick so I can show you the actual site. And GIZA price, oh yeah, it came out May. Yeah, it's holding pretty good. I mean, that's look, the airdrop, tank, and then spike, and then
Yeah.
what? I mean, that's, healthier than most airdrops.
Well, I mean, you got to look at the overall market too. I mean, it's it's kind of we've
Yeah.
been for the most part in a downward trend or trending sideways. I mean, even Bitcoin, as well as it's been performing, we've been kind of stuck at in the low 100K, anywhere between 100K and 108K for seems like forever now. So yeah, I'm not going to judge it too harshly for trending
Mhm.
sideways like that.
No, and you got this nice support being built right here too.
Well, and
So,
it's making higher lows.
yep.
So
So this is the main Arma site. You got some different APYs right here from different protocols,
mhm.
and we'll connect our wallet. And I actually haven't gone through this yet, so this will be a first time for me activating this agent.
I'm actually
So
really
remember,
curious.
you do need at least 10 USDC. I'm not sure. Sometimes there is a withdrawal period, like a cooldown period, but
I think it
I
was
don't
90
know. So
days. Oh, when I was
on
looking
this
at it,
one,
I think I could be wrong, but I swear when I was looking earlier, it said 90 days lockup period. But I've been trying to catch up on everything, after being kind of out of the loop for a couple of days, so everything's kind of blended together. So I apologize if that's wrong.
no, we'll find out. We'll find out soon enough. I'll be the test dummy.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
So we'll check and see. Approve this transaction.
See,
Make sure you
see, see me and Jeff, here at DeFi Crypto and Airdrops, we fall on swords for you guys.
we follow. Yep. Hey, it's the price we pay for providing that good information, man.
It's true.
Sometimes
I'm not gonna
I don't mind taking that little
I'm not gonna
risk.
expect people to do something I'm not willing to do myself.
Yep. Okay, we approved the transaction, deposited our USDC, and this session key allows automated transactions. So it explains what each transaction is right here and your signature. And let me confirm this.
15% APR. That's not bad.
Dun 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 dun. Okay. All right. Once you see the green checks right here, let's check it
So
out.
so all you deposited was USDC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it takes a few minutes, as you can see right here. Looks like it deposited into the Euler USDC market.
Okay. Pending.
So I don't know
Says pending.
how. Yeah. Let's see. There is a staking. I didn't stake any of my tokens, but
Well, what was that graph? I mean, was that because was that like a compounding curve?
estimated earnings.
Okay. Is
Oh, so if you put in 10,000 GIZA, staking duration. Okay, staking duration.
okay. All right. No, that's cool. I love me. I'm a nerd for data and analytics.
Yeah.
So
So for 2 months, 10,000 GIZA. We'll earn you 57. That's not.
Well, I mean, it's 15%. I mean, you're not going to,
Yeah.
I mean, it takes large amounts of money to, to make it worthwhile. If you're only earning 15%, unless it's a long term play. If it's a
Yeah.
steady 15%, if now you're depositing USDC, is it converting that to Giza or?
Let's see.
I guess that would be my
Okay.
question because if you're depositing USDC and
No, I
and
think it's just USDC because this is the vault that you're in, right?
then
It's a Euler USDC vault.
well then that's something that we might want to look a little deeper into because if you're depositing USDC and it stays USDC and you're earning 15% on that USDC, that's a pretty damn good return on
Mm,
stables. The only like the other place that stands out to me in my mind is there's a place on the Plume portal. It's PUSD that you can earn a steady 15% APR as
mhm.
well. But 15% on stables is nothing to scoff at because you've basically removed yourself from price volatility. Really, the only risk is whatever platform you're doing it on. If it's actually being custodied on the protocol or on the platform, or like a hack or something like that. So just
Yeah,
wanted to
it
throw
looks
that out
like
there.
the 15% is on the staking because right here, new 15%
Oh,
APR, and
okay.
it's the staking because, um,
So it's the
yeah,
ARMA
because
staking.
this current position, yeah, it's the ARMA staking, which I'll go to the staking dashboard, right? Stake your GIZA to participate. Oh, that's just in governance, but yeah, earn rewards. I don't have any staking positions. I moved my GIZA to a different wallet, so I don't have any on here.
Oh, gotcha.
Um,
So have you gotten the airdrop or?
yeah, I claimed it when it went live. I checked it. I didn't know. I
Mhm.
just checked it randomly and was like, "Oh shit, I have like 40 bucks."
No, no, that's cool.
So yeah, I saw somebody share it like a week. I think it was a week after the airdrop, and I just was like, "Oh, let me just check this out." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool." Um, and you can deactivate it right here. Deactivate Arma, but well,
So it looks like it went through. Your deposit of 1154 completed.
yeah.
So okay. So what's going on now? Now that it's completed and it has those USDC, in the agent. What's it doing now?
Now that's what I'm figuring out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I haven't actually used it at all.
Well,
You
well
know,
then,
I
then I would guess. I mean, what it's doing: earn
agent
smarter with
account
Giza
details.
rewards.
Let me see here. Personalization, no.
Well, what is the fund? Or you said it's the Euler. You
So
said
yeah, the Euler
so
on
go for
base.
so oh, it's on base.
Yeah, yeah, because it's on the base network and it uses the um, what Euler, seamless, morpho, fluid. But I am confused on how this
Let me see what I can find. Well, while
how
you're
you
looking,
pick the pool because it automatically defaulted to Euler, which I
well,
don't know.
go ahead and dig into that so we don't bog down too
Yeah,
much, and I'll go over what I found about Kita and Giza. So
yeah, I
go ahead and
kicked it
dig
over
into
too.
that. Yeah. Well, no. I mean, you can leave it on while you're
Oh,
looking around, so people can see like where you're going to find the information. I'll just talk about what I
yeah.
found. So it says there's no direct evidence from the provided information that Kita and Giza are actively working together in a formal partnership or collaboration. However, both projects are mentioned in context of crypto and blockchain space. They're both on the base network. Kita is a high performance layer one blockchain. I mean, those of you that know the channel, you're subscribed. We've done multiple Kita deep dives and DeFi episodes.
Mm.
So the network focuses on cross border payments, asset tokenization, and interoperability with a claimed throughput of 10 million transactions per second and settlement times of 400 milliseconds. It's backed by notable investors like Eric Schmidt, former Google CEO. GIZA, another project on the base chain, focusing on building AI agents for decentralized finance trading strategies. It has a smaller market cap and seen as a beta play for investors rotating profits from Kita native token or KTA into newer projects like GIZA.
Hmm.
So it looks like it maybe whoever started that pool just must be a kind of a DeFi focused investor, and kind of saw the potential of these two projects working together as far as KTA, because of the the speed of it and the interoperability aspect. And Giza, with the AI, like I said, the transactions per second and the settlement times plays very well into what an AI agent would need to to scale. Just because the amount of data that is in the deep databases that AI is going to have to pull from to do
Hmm.
what it does as far as trading and deciding what it's going to do next. So that would be without digging deeper, what my thought process is for Kita and Giza, and any potential of them maybe either directly or indirectly working together.
Man, that's really interesting to think about. I'm glad you mentioned that pool because it just kind of throws in this different kind of utility that I hadn't thought about before with these projects opening up their own liquidity pools or people that want to see these because that is a weird pair. It's just
Yeah, just out,
kind of
out
like
of
wait
left
what?
field.
But if you can see if one benefits the other, why not? And you can utilize that, like you said, for efficient capital or capital efficiency and stuff like that. But I think I understand now the Giza thing. So they say you just add your USDC right
Mhm.
into the vault,
Okay.
and there's no interruptions, no resets, and you don't need to manage it. So
So it's a
I
lot like
think what
Beefy.
this,
Like like
yes.
like Beefy, those pools that I have on Beefy, I put liquidity in there. It auto rebalances, it
Hmm.
auto compounds. I mean, it does everything.
Yeah, and looking at these other pools or these other protocols,
Yeah.
so I think if one protocol dips below another, I think this ARMA agent will automatically shift you into a different pool because it said, why are you still farming manually? So it will, depending on whatever percentage APY, it'll shift you to that if it finds a better incentive structure. And that's just in that one pool, but the overall APR of the ARMA um, protocol. So you get the 7% in whatever pool you're in, but you also get the 15% from the ARMA protocol APY. Now, I don't know if that's like together or how the combination works, but it looks like you kind of get a double dip, so to speak. But
Interesting.
you don't have to do
Oh, here we
anything. You can
go.
add to your position, top up, but
So
huh,
kick it over to me real quick. I just found something. How
yeah.
Arma works.
Swap screen.
Oh yeah, yeah. Here we go. So, how ARMA works: Scan continuously sweeps every lending pool in real time, tracking APR shifts, bonus incentives, and gas swings. across every integrated protocol. Score rapidly crunches all variables to calculate post-fee yield, greenlighting moves only when the projected upside materially outweighs total costs. So, it takes into account fees and, rebalancing and, all those different things. Execute seamlessly withdraws funds automatically, atomic, uh, uh,
Autonomously?
atomically. No, atomically swaps. Oh, like okay, swaps assets when needed, then redeposits. All fully automated inside your self-custodial smart account. Compound collects reward tokens, converts them into your base asset, and reinvests the proceeds back into the strategy for compounding growth, which is huge. I mean, anybody that's listened to us like at all knows that we're always talking about the power of compounding, like the aerodrome locks, with the weekly, compounding that you can do. And just how it, I mean, over time, you just go parabolic when it comes to your earning potential. So, getting started, you connect your wallet, you deposit your USDC, and you activate, and boom, you're done, just like Jeff just did. So that, I mean, that's really it in a nutshell. So it looks like what it's doing is it's actually um, ensuring that you get a stable APR, but it is diversifying across, basically any integrated protocols, kind of like a VFAT, how it's a DeFi aggregator. So what this feels like to me is an AI, like, all these automations and all these options that we have on VFAT. It's
Mm-hmm.
using AI to automate all of that, to where, again, if you're somebody that has a full-time job and a family and you're doing this and that and the other thing, and you don't have time to be constantly checking on your portfolio, and you just want to earn a steady yield, then this might be something for you, to where you can put your stablecoin into this and it will just ensure that you get a consistent 15% APR, just a fire and forget. So yeah, you're not going to make 40, 50, 60, 100, 200% APR, but what is your time worth?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Stan, if the project folds, will they take your stake with them?
See, and that's something that's important. So actually, while you
Hmm.
continue on, I will do some research and see if I can find that.
And I was thinking about that with the whole Chroma layer 2 depreciating, there is always a chance of your funds being locked. But with when Chroma depreciated their layer 2 network, they um, ideally you would want the project to say, "Hey, we're not going to be able to make it. Get your funds off by this time. We're going to end or depreciate the network or the protocol." But if you don't have that luxury, if it just goes ghost,
Oh,
yeah, you can be
with
kind of fucked. But that is why you want to have good, solid back projects like this, where it's less likely for them to just totally rug.
well, do your own research, but this is what I've found. With ARMA on the GIZA protocol, your funds remain non-custodial, meaning you maintain full control and custody of your assets. ARMA security is built on a self-custodial architecture, meaning that GIZA never stores or has access to your private keys. The platform uses smart accounts with session keys that operate under strict user-defined parameters, such as specific protocols, timeframes, and transaction limits, to execute automated DeFi strategies while preserving your sovereignty over your funds. You can instantly revoke permissions at any time, adding an extra layer of control.
Mm. Hey, that's true decentralization right there. If you if you go down, you still have the customer funds available for them to take or have access to, and that's that word non-custodial. That's what you want to hear, or self-custody. You
Yes.
want self-custody. You don't want any protocol to custody it for you. especially something like Coinbase where it can go down when the markets are going crazy and you don't have access.
No,
But
no, I mean, absolutely.
let's see.
I'm looking at in the documentation right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and remember like let me see. I'm going to actually close this Arma agent and see if I don't see anything about the lockup period though. So
uh,
maybe a different let's see.
Unstaking fee. When we're withdrawing stake tokens before the 1 month mark, a 5% fee is applied initially that decays linearly to 0% over a 1 month period. All
Okay, so
right.
if you withdraw it's 5%
Yeah, before the 1 month. It says no fee
before
is
the month.
charged after staking for 1 month or longer. You can withdraw your tokens completely fee free once you've staked for at least 1 month. To promote long-term staking and discourage frequent entering and exiting, GIZA implements a withdraw fee mechanism. When withdrawing stake
Hmm.
tokens before the 1 month mark, a 5% fee is applied initially that decays linearly to 0% after or for anything over 1 month. So a 30-day cool off, basically.
Okay. Um Interesting. Yeah. And that's another interesting way of capturing value. Say, hey, we have these limitations. If it's after a certain time, you get because ideally, you still want these protocols to make money and be able to
Oh, of
redistribute
course.
that. And even though they don't have any overhead, I mean, this is where it benefits us, the customer or consumer, more than traditional finance because that if this protocol can make 5% off somebody that takes out their $1 million early, that can be distributed back into the protocol.
No,
But
absolutely, absolutely.
non-custodial, the keys are in your hands, and okay, and that's good to know. The lockup, it's not a 90-day lockup, but just keep that in mind if you decide to get in this. There's that 5% if you decide to withdraw before a month.
And
And
right now, it looks like TVL is 311 million. That's what they're saying. Capital optimized is sitting at. So make sure you. I mean, again, this is a very very early project. Make sure
mhm.
that you do your own research. We're like I said, we're just going through this. Like me and Jeff are ourselves going to invest. This is the process. So again, I kind of feel like that this is a really good way for us to do these deep dives. Just do them kind of raw and live like this because
Mm-hmm.
I mean it forces us to dig. As we have these questions, and this is the process. This when people talk about fundamentals, this is the kind of thing that they're talking about. This is what builds a solid foundation for an investment is understanding the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, you know, all everything. You want to find all of these things out. I mean, small things like, hey, if I put $10,000 into this, am I going to be able to get it out, or is it locked for a year? Is it
Yeah.
locked? Is it locked for 4 years? It's these are all the things that you might not think of, and you just ape into something, and all of a sudden you got 10,000 of freaking liquidity that you can't access, because you were like, oh yeah, I'm just going to throw my stable coins in there until I need them, and I'll just earn like a good 15% on them, and and then whenever if Bitcoin dips, then I'll pull it out and buy some Bitcoin, and then you're going to pull it out, and it's like, nope, you're locked for a year, and it's just like, oh
Yeah.
fuck me, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, don't remind me. I've had many times I was like, oh shit, this is locked up too long. Damn it.
Well,
Oh.
I mean, we've hit an hour. I definitely want to kind of start wrapping things up.
Mm-hmm.
And we can take a couple of minutes, but get any questions into the chat. We'll make sure we answer those. But yeah, give me your kind of your closing thoughts or your closing finds or anything you got, Jeff.
No, I did like this more raw approach. Like even though I've kind of glanced over this project before, it's good to kind of raw dog it in a way because it forces you to ask these questions like, hey, what's wrong with this, or dig into certain aspects a
Hmm.
little more. And also, people in the chat asking questions and like, hey, can we still have access to our funds after if the project goes away? And these are important things to
Well,
highlight and
well,
find
Deadwood.
out.
Deadwood makes a good point. If a project fails, then the stake would be voided, no matter the location. So you would get your USDC back. It's sitting in your wallet. It's just in a smart contract and basically not locked, but it's in a smart contract. And so my question would be, could you? Well, I guess if they're staked, unless they're liquid staked, you wouldn't be able to use those for anything else. So yeah,
Mhm.
so I'm guessing they're not liquid staked.
No, no, I don't think so.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, as a project folds, they can't draw out the liquidity if it's staked. Because again, they're not custodying those assets, and you're basically, from the sounds of it, you're basically loaning them your assets to do what it is that they're doing. So
yeah, this definitely
more
some
to dig
really,
into.
yeah. That's why we love you guys, man. You guys are fucking smart with the questions
Oh,
and really
absolutely.
using your brain and thinking and getting us to think a little deeper with all these because yeah, more questions isn't always a bad thing.
No, no, no. Like I said, I'm really liking this format better. I think that we'll just do this on Mondays and Saturdays show. Just go in raw and just raw dog it.
Raw.
Yeah, raw. Like DZ talks about on
Easy.
Discover Crypto. Yeah, we'll raw dog it. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. I mean, this actually might be one of my plays. I'm going to do some more research, but this might be one of my plays along with the 15% APR that I can earn on the Plume USD, PUSD, Plume stablecoin on the Plume network. It might be one of my ways that I lever up. As I ladder out. If we ever get our alt
Yes.
season, and I ladder out into stables, this might be another 15% APR play for me to diversify.
Yeah, these are going to be, especially come the bear market, these are going to be really nice for, taking your, just giving you more autonomy. Like, hey, I don't have to look and see what the best protocols are offering the best APYs. I can just let it do it myself or
Well,
itself.
if you make, and this will be my closing thoughts, if you make enough, you know, uh, during this bull run, like say you make 50K or let's say 100K, it's a nice round number, and you make 15%, and it's in stables, and you make 15%. That's $15,000 a year. So what you're talking 1,200 ish, yeah, $1,200 a month is basically what you would make off of that, and that's just steady money. $1,200 a month of steady money that you could use as dry powder without ever touching your principal, without touching
Hmm.
that 100,000. You would be able to have $1,200 a month whenever in the bear market. whenever you saw a cool project like we did with Plume, like we did with KTA, you'd have $1,200 a month to open up a liquidity pool position, and let it natively grow itself. Let it grow a bag of something. Be like, I'm putting $1,200 into it, and whatever it turns into is whatever it turns into. And you just compound it back in, or whatever you want to do. That's how I plan on this exiting this bull market, and how I plan on conducting myself in the bear market is I'm going to keep the majority, probably 80-90% of my value or my liquidity in stables, and earn 10 to 15% on it, and just use that over the next bear market to build up a whole new portfolio. And just
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that I keep that that value, because I mean, once you have that, I mean, if you can just continually grow that, you're set. It's you can use a portion of it to do some high risk plays, but you'd be stupid. I mean, if you have 500,000 or $1 million that you end up making, that's life changing money. If you can earn 15%, if you have $1 million, you're earning 15%. You're earning $150,000 a year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that you can. That's fuck you money. That's, you can
Yep.
go to
Yep.
work, and you can do the Jerry Maguire. Fuck you. You're
Fuck
cool.
you.
You're cool. I'm out. Grab the goldfish.
Cuba.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like that's that again. That's life changing. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I mean, that's my 2 cents. And that's what I plan on doing. Is I'm not here to get rich quick. I'm here to build lasting wealth. And that's why I'm in DeFi, and why we're doing this show is we're trying to show people how to take little to nothing and churn it into life-changing money that earns you residual income. Not, I'm going to put a bunch of money into a project and hope that it pumps someday. I mean, we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at our hodl bags, hoping, just hoping and praying that they're going to go up. Or you try your hand at trading, and you have people with a lot more money, a lot more experience, and a lot more resources, and a much larger team that are out trading you. You end up being the liquidity that they're making. So, DeFi to me is, it's a level playing field. So,
And
all in.
it takes the stress off of having to watch the charts all the time, because when I say I entered my plume positions up here at like 16 to 18 cents,
Yeah,
and we're down from there. I don't know what the percentage is, but I am up
about
on
probably
my,
about 40%, like 40-50%.
yeah, and I'm up on my DeFi position because of the rewards that I've accumulated. So
Yeah.
I haven't I'm down on my initial like entry, but since I've accumulated so much rewards, am at the same price in USDC that down here that I was at up here. So
So
I've
when it goes
essentially
back up
averaged
there,
down. I've averaged down hella like crazy
well, I
for
mean,
basically for free.
well, and at one point, I mean, it was at it was at 20 cents. I mean, or higher. And so, I mean, if it goes back up there, then you've doubled you'll double the value.
Oh, easy. By
Yeah,
the time it gets back up there, I might have tripled or quadrupled.
yeah. So
It's
I mean, that's
powerful.
why that's why we're here. Is it's another lever that you can pull. It's like, yeah, have some hodl bags. If there isn't
Mhm.
any good, like Ondo, I my Ondo is in a hodl bag because I can't find a good DeFi position for it. So I have hodl bags. I have a bunch of DeFi. I'm not doing any trading, but with these AI agents, I might start getting into that because if it can just earn
Yeah.
me a steady yield and I don't have to do a bunch of TA and you know hope that it's going to go down, and so I do a short, and I have to worry about a stop loss and all these different things. I just don't want to have to deal with that. I want to put my
Hmm.
liquidity, into these things, and I want to go about my life, go, travel with my lady and go out to dinner and, have fun, and enjoy life and not be having to sit in front of my laptop, constantly, trying to make my nut for the day.
Yep. Yep.
So, well, Jeff, I appreciate you, brother. I mean, honestly, I
Yeah.
really do like this format. We'll drive forward with this.
Hell yeah. I appreciate you, Mike. I appreciate all of you out there watching and interacting with us. Awesome conversations. And let's see, we got anything else? I think
Uh,
that's about,
just join me tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be
yeah.
doing a in the DIG in the paid. It's in the paid section. I'm going to be. We started a mastermind group. So me, TJ, and Tim are going to be in there. Either one of us, all of us, a couple of us, and whoever wants to join us. And it's basically an open forum where we're going to be talking about DeFi and what it is that we're doing. Talking to you about what you're doing. If you want us to, look over your DeFi portfolio and what pools you're in. It's just going to be a place, a roundtable, to where we can all kind of lean on each other, learn from each other. Everybody's a teacher, everybody's a student. I'll be sharing some advanced strategies, things like that, and then again tomorrow, after that, or actually no, sorry, before that, I'll be doing this episode. So double your BTC. So I'll be going over basically a borrowing and lending, a lending borrowing flywheel. So it's a really, really low risk way that you can leverage your Bitcoin bags, or for that matter, any bags, to lever up and grow them while hodling. So
Hmm.
it'll be a great episode, and something that you're definitely going to want to learn. So
Oh
with
yeah.
that, thank you everybody. Stan, Jay, Ellie, Deadwood, appreciate y'all. Everybody in the
Alexander
chat.
G.
Alexander
Black
G,
Ice.
Cloud 99, Black Ice, and everyone watching on all of our different
Doki.
X channels and YouTube channels and Rumble. We appreciate you. And until next time, Veteran Crypto out.
Later.